If you've seen basically any video that I've posted within the past year, you'll know that I am currently on the quest to go through as much of Star Wars as I can chronologically within the year 2026. I finished Reign of the Empire Mask of Fear this morning. That's a book by Alexander Freed about Mon, Bail, and Saw kind of doing their own thing right after the Empire was established. Still love that book. I think I have a vlog of that actually on my page somewhere of me reading it for the first time. I've read it several times since then. That's not what this video is about though. The next thing chronologically is something that I have been so excited to get to, and I've been purposefully waiting to read it because I knew we were coming up on it on my spreadsheet, and that is of course the MAUL Shadow Lord tie-in comics as well as the show. To basically immediately date this episode, today is April 26th, so there are 2 more MAUL drops, next being tomorrow and then the following Monday, which is May 4th. That also means that there are currently only 2 issues of this comic out, but that is perfectly fine for our purposes. This little vlog today is going to be me reading these 2 comics and then watching the show and sharing my thoughts as we go in a very similar style to my Wonder Man vlog, if anyone happened to see that. Also, I'm not sure if she's ever been in a video before, so cat reveal. This is Pepper. I am kind of trapped here at the moment because of the cat, but let's go ahead and read these comics and then I'll check back in. All done with issue number 1. I thought that one was really fun. It's serving as an introduction to Captain Lawson and the system that's kind of set up on Janix, which is basically like just riddled with crime from what it seems. Obviously, haven't watched the show yet. These are my introductions to these characters. Just from this one, I do really like the captain and his droid 2 boots. To me, they're kind of giving the same energy as Commander Goth and his droid, I think named Nines from Master of Evil by Adam Christopher. In this, it seems like the early stages of the ISB are trying to get involved on Janix, and the captain basically shuts that down immediately and was like, hey, don't get in my way. I won't get in yours, but I'm going to do things the way that I've always done things here, and you need to be okay with that. And at the very end, we get the introduction of Maul making his way to Janix by killing someone and stealing their ship, as he is one to do. Overall, I think that issue was really solid. Let's get into issue number 2. Does Lawson's son just play every sport imaginable in the Star Wars universe? This is the second time he's mentioned his son playing a sport, and they've been 2 different ones. I find that very funny. Another quick pause. I really love the design of this speeder that he's in. And I have to say, they made Vario way too friendly looking for me to be against him. It's like, look how cute he is. There's something about his big goofy smile. He kind of looks like, was it Polite Cat or Pleasant Cat? I'm sure he's gonna be like the worst person I can possibly imagine once we actually get into his character, but he's really cute. The TLDR for this issue is that Lawson is staking out and watching a deal go down between a couple of crime lords. A bunch of Imperial credits showed up and he's trying to figure out how they got on the planet and what exactly is going on with that. And at the end we get a little bit more about Maul. We see him landing on the planet and being met by a couple of his friends, underlings, and he tells them to get rid of the ship and says something menacing about like, no one needs to know I'm here until it's too late. And honestly, I think that that is a pretty good place to end the comics and pick up with the show, because I imagine the show's going to pick up in roughly the same spot if I had to guess. If I had to give these 2 a rating, I think I'd give the first one a 4.75, top of straight S or bottom of S plus for me, I think. And then the second one I'll give like a straight up 4. I think that that one was there a little bit more to help further the story of the upcoming issues. It doesn't stand alone super well, but it was still a fun experience. I think I'll give that like an A-. And now we can get into the show, which I am so excited to finally get into. Having to dodge spoilers for the show has been the absolute worst. All of my friends and mutuals are talking about it, and I'm just like trying to be supportive of their stuff while not watching any of their videos. I'm like, I don't want any spoilers for this, but I still want to like support them. So I've been liking and reposting a lot of stuff that I have absolutely no context for and have not watched, but we are rectifying that right now. To give super quick thoughts before going into the show, I know nothing besides besides what the promo that was released before the first episodes have told me. I have no context for anything. I have been led to believe that this is one of the best, if not the best, animated show that has ever been put out, so I'm excited for that. I'm a little bit nervous about the fact that the Twi'lek Padawan looks a little bit Darth Talon-y. I don't know how we're going to approach that, and especially since she's a child in this, I do not love the idea of her turning into Talon. I'm not a huge Talon fan, period, but more than that, because she's a child and we have so many images of Darth Talon, definitely not child-coded. I would love it if they don't hint at the fact that she could be, if that's where this is going. But again, I have no clue. I just have the promo material and what everyone was speculating about pre-release. But I am really, really excited to see what's going on here. Episode 1 is done. Holy crap, that is one of the best things I've ever watched. I cannot believe how good that was. I can believe it. I am blown away with everything. And it's only episode 1. The animation is so beautiful, like out of this world. I can't even put into words how much I am in love with this animation style. I've been watching the Clone Wars for the past month and a half-ish. The jump from that to this, I just can't even process right now. That's not even to say that the Clone Wars had a bad animation style, but there is definitely a jump in quality and in style that is very palpable. This is just so beautiful. Again, obsessed with Lawson and Two Boots. This is, I think, the scariest Maul has ever been, because he's not feral now, he's scheming. For me, a just like loose monster will never be as scary as someone who is able to think and carry out a nefarious plot. I fear my comments are not going to be engaging or riveting because I'm just going to be blown away with this the entire time. Summary of episode 1, it is really just setting things up. Maul's, I don't want to say goons, like workers, I guess, his employees, broke into a bank owned by one of the other syndicate leaders on Janix and stole some money, but mostly just Droid, that was like the head of that bank, and Lawson and some of the rest of the policing force on Janix show up to investigate. We're introduced to a couple other characters through that, and we also see a little bit more of the little guy that I said had a friendly face. I can't remember his name already. I cannot believe he's tiny. That is like the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I do kind of love him. I also love the flying saucer droid. I don't know if he has a name yet, but I love him. I love how sassy he is. I don't have a lot to say about this first episode, other than I'm just so blown away with the quality of it. I'm so excited to continue. Let's get into episode 2. Guys, oh my goodness. It's only getting better. Finds Devin, the Padawan, being trapped by Maul, and he's being very nonchalant about it, like trying to get her on his side. We also see him working with Vario to get the Pikes under his control, and that starts with planting seeds and making sure that the Pikes think that it's Vario's problem, and then they go and like set up the Pikes, and Maul ends up like taking over this little sect of the Pikes. There are two really, really cool saber fights in this one. One is between Maul and Devin as Devin escapes him initially, and the other one is between Maul and Devin and Master Daki at the end of episode 5. It is so cool the way that lightsaber movement is done in this show. It looks so fluid. There's still obviously a lot of power behind it, and I think that, especially in animation, that's sometimes really hard to balance. So far, it's been done really, really well. Honestly, the thing that has me most stressed out in the show so far is Lawson and his son. They have the subplot going that I think I can say confidently is in every single cop procedural I have ever watched, where one of the main characters has a child that they're borderline neglecting because they're married to their job instead of putting their family first. And this usually does come along with the fact that the main character is divorced, which Lawson is. In these things, the child is always a little bit resentful of both the parent and their job. And I feel like in almost every case, these things usually end with the child being kidnapped in some fashion and the parent going to rescue them, and then the child being like, oh, okay, maybe this job isn't so bad. So I'm scared that that's going to happen to Lawson's son, but that is yet to be seen. Let's get into 5 and 6, which might be the last two up right now. I'm not entirely sure. I got so stressed out in that episode that I had to stand up and pace. That lightsaber fight between Devin and Merrick at the end had me genuinely so stressed that Riley was going to catch a stray and die. He's fine. I'm glad that I'm watching this all now. Specifically, I'm glad that I was able to watch this in a chunk because I don't think that my poor heart would have been able to handle the 2-episode chunks up until this point. I need more literally immediately, and I'm just glad tonight is Sunday because there will be more tomorrow morning when I get up. So episodes 5 and 6 really just kind of ruin Lawson's life. The Empire comes in after Two Boots called them at the end of episode 4. They immediately take over the police department and start interrogating first the chief and then Lawson himself, trying to figure out what they know specifically in regards to MAUL's location. We don't really know what happens to the chief. What we do know is that she got relocated, but I'm not sure if that's code for she was forcibly removed kind of situation, or if she was truly just like taken to a different department. We may or may not see the end of that story. But after that, Lawson goes home and finds Master Docky and Devin there with his kid, and this episode ends with MAUL coming to save Devin as she is struggling to fight Merrick. And Merrick goes back to someone and says, MAUL's here. There are 4 episodes left in this series, 2 of which coming out tomorrow, which is April 27th, and the next 2 are coming out on Monday, May 4th, which is the following Monday. I cannot wait. This show has been so good so far. I have a lot of questions that are hopefully going to be answered within the next 4 episodes, but overall, I'm just having such a good time. I said this in my Wonder Man vlog too, but I really feel like I struggle to give critiques for things when I'm viewing it for the first time, because I go into these things, especially with Star Wars, expecting to really enjoy it because I just love the property so much. Unless there's something truly heinous going on, I go into these knowing that I'm at least going to enjoy the viewing process one time. And for this one, I can see it very much becoming one of my top favorite things. Literally anytime we get a new Star Wars thing, I'm going to be excited for it. Because at the end of the day, I just love Star Wars. One thing I don't think I mentioned that was in episode 3 or 4, the very small mention that we got of Savage Opress. I love Savage so much, and I love their short time together during the Clone Wars. I really wish he was still here. I miss Savage Opress so much. I think he's actually on my shirt right now. Yeah, he is. I miss him every day, and I am so happy that we got a little tiny Savage mention in the year 2026. I'm definitely going to have more thoughts about this as I digest it more and have time to examine what it is I just watched. Predictions going into the next 4 episodes. Two Boots is definitely going to find Lawson or Riley or both of them in some capacity and have a full turn. He was told to take those boots off, and I just can't see that happening for him. 2, I think the Imperial guy that took over the police department is not going to make it out of this season. He's too much of a jerk. 3, I think we're going to see a double down on Janix, and I can definitely see this being a situation where the Empire does not leave, but MAUL and his crew pack up and go. And because we already know a season 2 is on the way, I definitely see a world where Lawson and the crew follow him for whatever reason. I don't think it's going to be a situation where anyone sides with MAUL. For the most part, Devin and Lawson, especially Master Docky, seem like they are too good aligned to ever fully get in with MAUL. But I can see a situation where they follow him in an attempt to take him out. Or kind of in a Thrawn Ezra way, they all are transported somewhere else that is a lot more dangerous than where they already were, and they have to work through that together. A couple of things I would really like to see by the end of this season. I need to see more of Lawson's wife. I need to know what's up with them. This is definitely getting into my love-hate relationship with the genre of cop procedurals. For the most part, my favorite things within those are the interpersonal conflict between the main character cop and their estranged family, and that is exactly what's happening here, and I absolutely need to know more. Second thing I need to happen, I need Master Daki to make it through this season. He cannot die. I am so stressed out for that old lizard. They made him too cute. I love him so much. If he does not make it, I think I might actually mourn him. I think there is a world where Devin doesn't have a full turn, but has like an orange lightsaber moment where she kind of is riding the line between the two. If anything, I'm glad that we have had no hints at a Talon-esque future, and I love that, and I appreciate Star Wars for doing that. I can see her becoming a little bit less stringent with the Jedi Code stuff and maybe having a little bit of a turn, but not like a full situation. To put it a different way, I think she could do a reverse Ventress. Other than that, the only thing swimming around in my head is just how much I love the show. Visuals in this are just absolutely stunning. Also, the audio mixing has been incredible. There was a point in, it was either episode 1 or episode 2, where there were sirens going, and every time the camera switched focus, the siren audio switched as if you were getting further away or closer to it, and that absolutely blew me into space. I thought that was so cool. The music has been incredible. The Sam Witwer screams in the lightsaber is just a stroke of genius. Everything about this has been so cool. Oh, another thing that I want to mention really quickly is the way that MAUL speaks in this show. I am obsessed with. His cadence is very much, he doesn't have his mind fully with him still. He'll have a thought and he'll get it out really quickly and then he'll switch to something else. And that is a lot like how he was speaking when he was Spider MAUL. And it makes sense to me that he isn't fully past that and his brain isn't fully with him anymore. I don't think I'm describing it in a great way, but just the cadence of how he's speaking is giving so much away about MAUL's mental state in this moment and really showing the mental scars that he's carrying with him, and the nuance that it's holding is so deep and so impressively done. Sam Witwer, the voice of MAUL, as I'm sure you are aware, has done such a phenomenal job with this character throughout his entire decade of voicing him, but this performance in particular has just been, like, it boggles my mind how he's able to hold that much gravity and emotion and all of the history of what MAUL has been through and still be able to deliver lines in a way that like makes sense. It's just so, I think nuanced is a really good word for it, and it's incredible. I don't know what else to say. Rant over. I will see you tomorrow for episodes 7 and 8. It's basically 5 o'clock right now. I just got home and I am so tired. I've been avoiding social media all day because I know for a fact everyone will be posting about these episodes, and I purposely did not watch them at work because we're filming a video here. I am so excited to view these next 2 episodes, so let's watch episodes 7 and 8. Oh, why am I crying? Why did that make me cry? Oh my goodness. Episode 7 opens with Devin and Riley with MAUL, and then separately Master Daki and Lawson as they are trying to find one another. Riley and Devin are able to separate from MAUL, but very shortly after that, in this huge battle with Imperial forces, Riley is taken. Devin goes and finds her master, and Lawson tells them what's going on, and they all kind of agree to go find Riley. They end up going back to the police HQ to get him, and while that's happening, MAUL is fighting 2 Inquisitors, Merrick and the Crow, while having this little mentee bee. He's been hearing voices this whole time, kind of going back to what I was talking about yesterday with him not being all there mentally, but he's hearing voices and having flashbacks and seeing a younger version of himself. The moments with him and young Savage and seeing him being taken and seeing him being trained, but at the same time tortured by Palpatine. MAUL has always been a character that I have kind of felt bad for just because of the horrific circumstances that he constantly finds himself in. He was taken by Sidious. He didn't have a real choice in that. He was a child, and like, what was he going to do versus a Sith Lord? He did what he could to be the person Sidious needed him to be, and when that ultimately wasn't enough, he was literally cut in half and then hunted down by Sidious. And time after time after time, he's just beaten down, but he's so resilient and stubborn and just refuses to die. If I'm being completely honest. And we know how Maul's story ends. He's crazed. He dies in Obi-Wan Kenobi's arms at just a broken jumble of thoughts of revenge, not even really a full being anymore. He's just so chronically broken at that point in Rebels. And what made me like actually start crying was when he looked down at the puddle at the younger version of himself and was crying, and the younger version of himself said, "I'm sorry." And Maul said, "It's okay. I'm not gonna let him do this to anyone else." I don't know, man. That's just really sad. Anyways, those episodes are really good. I'm so glad that Two Boots is back with Lawson. That is firmly where he belongs, in my opinion, and I hope that nothing bad happens to him. And I also hope that he gets his boots back one way or another. Maybe he can do a Cad Bane and steal someone else's boots, but I just feel like he needs them to be whole again. Good riddance to that Imperial guy. I hope he's gone. I know neither of the Inquisitors died in that explosion, but I'm getting real sick of their shenanigans. I need them to back off. I'm so sad that I don't even know his name, the big Zabrak, had to die. He didn't have to. He was killed. Ugh, I really don't think a piece of Star Wars animation has made me this emotional since the passing of Tech. Never forgive, never forget. I don't know if I'm okay right now, actually. I don't know what it was about this. I mean, besides the fact that it's ridiculously sad, that just genuinely made me really upset, but in the way that only a good piece of media can. My prediction from yesterday kind of stands. I think that we're going to get these two groups kind of converging on one another and probably going off to the same location. I can't see why else there would need to be a season 2. Devin felt like she was becoming a little tiny bit more open to Maul in this episode, with her like questioning him a little bit about his past. I still don't see a world where she turns to him unless there's something drastic that happens. Maybe if Master Daki dies directly by the hands of the Empire, I can see her maybe going with Maul to do a revenge kind of thing. And actually, now that I've said that out loud, Master Daki is definitely going to get killed by one of the Inquisitors, probably Merrick, and that's how season 2 is going to come up. Devin's going to go with Maul to train to be able to fight Merrick, right? Like, that's definitely what's going to happen now that I've said that. I'm still kind of nervous for Riley. He seemed pretty shaken up in this episode, and like maybe he said some things in that interrogation that he shouldn't have. Not blaming him at all, though. If I was being interrogated by an Inquisitor, I would tell them whatever they needed, no question. Don't want to be tortured, don't want to die by a lightsaber, and I get that, and I don't blame him for that. This show is so good. I've had this thought several times while watching, and it keeps coming up. There are some backgrounds that look kind of almost watercolorish painted, and I am so blown away every time I see one of those. And every time that happens and it pans to the next thing, I have to remember that every single thing in that frame had to be rendered and colored and animated in some way. And I am just so blown away by the quality and the artistry of this show. I'm running out of words. I'm just so impressed with this whole series. It has been so good. And I'm not even sure if anything I said was just coherent. I was exhausted physically starting this watch, and now I am exhausted mentally and emotionally. I think the takeaway from this is I just kind of want Maul to be okay, and I know that he's never going to be. If I had a time machine right now for him, I would wind it back to when he and Savage met up, and I would start from there and have them go off on their own and just start life again and forget the Sith and Palpatine and just live their lives. That definitely can't happen, and we know exactly where Maul is going to end up, and I'm so sad. I'm just so sad. Oh, but kind of happy thing, Dryden Voss mention. Solo mention in 2026. We can all clap and cheer for that. I love Solo. I think Dryden Voss is such an interesting character, even though I hate him so much. But a Dryden Voss mention is basically a Kira mention, and that is a huge win in my book. I love, love, love Kira. Anyways, I will see you next Monday for the conclusion of this season. I have no idea what to expect. I'm scared, but more than that, I could not be more excited. So I'll see you in 6 days, but I guess for you, it'll be like right now. Good morning. Happy May 4th. I had to come into the office this morning, and this afternoon I will hopefully be at one of the Mando and Grogu fan screenings. So this is the only time I really have to watch the 2 new MAUL episodes. I feel like we don't really need an introduction. We know what's going on. I'm so scared. Let's jump into these episodes. I'm not even sure that I have words to express what I just watched. Just straight after finishing the last episode. I mean, that was so cool. First things first, I feel like we should address the Vader-shaped elephant in the room. There's been speculation, basically since the start of this show, that Vader was going to show up, and I wasn't really sure if that was going to happen or not. I wasn't for or against it. A lot of times with these things, it feels like people just toss around names until it's confirmed that someone did or did not show up in anything. And while I think him showing up was perfect for where the season was going, I was still a little bit surprised to see him. If anything, I was kind of convinced that we were going to see some kind of Palpatine situation, like him showing up and them having a round 2 and have a moment where Maul and Devon are paralleling the fight that Maul and Savage had with Sidious in the Clone Wars. The music in this and just like the sound mixing in general was absolutely beautiful. There were so many little moments that I picked up on while I was listening, and it just suited the show so well. I cannot wait to see more of Dryden Voss in the next season. Him being here is filling in a huge chunk of time and giving so much context. The fact that this is kind of directly leading into Most Wanted and Crimson Climb and Solo makes my heart so happy. I think I've already said it in here. I love Kira. I also just love Solo and all of the material around it. I've really enjoyed. So the fact that this is leading so nicely into that is just so cool. I'm so sad that Maul lost the other brother and Spybot. I cannot remember which one is which. It's either Icarus or Scorn, but the fact that they're both gone, I was not okay during that. Also not okay during Spybot. And the fact that he was killed so deliberately makes me really, really, really hate these Inquisitors even more than I already do. I already can't remember which one did it. I think it was Merrick. But oh man, I cannot stand that guy now. All of the lightsaber fights, 10 out of 10. Some of the best choreography, best animated, best sounding, best visually that we have gotten. The way that they were able to make Vader look so powerful and menacing in this show. I feel like the more we get of Vader on screen, the scarier and the more menacing he has become. Truly, there were some times that it made me jump. I knew that Master Daki was not going to make it. I kind of had a feeling that it was going to come down to Maul and him, and Maul doing something that causes him to ultimately be killed. I think it was very interesting that we got the deliberate cut to Lawson as Maul pushed Daki towards Vader, and even though we saw Lawson like walk into the fog, I really do think that he is not dead, and season 2 is going to be Riley finding out that he's alive, breaking him out of whatever prison he ends up at. Maybe we get another like Narkina situation where he ends up in some kind of labor thing like Cassian was, and as Devon is embracing the dark side, Captain Lawson can be the one that comes in and is like, hey, Maul is the reason Daki is dead. Maybe chill out on the dark side stuff. Overall, there is just so much to look forward to in the next season, and I am just absolutely blown away with the quality of this season. It is truly, I think, one of the best animated shows thus far. I'm just so in awe of what they were able to accomplish in such a short span of, 8 or 10 episodes. This for me, 5 stars, 10 out of 10, best of all time kind of situation. It is definitely going to get an S+ on our chronological order tier list. If you have no idea what that is, I will link the playlist in the card up here. But overall, I could not be happier with the product that we got out of this show. And it's really cool that we already know there's a season 2 on the way. This show has really upped my love for Maul as a character. He was already really high on my list, but this show has just like skyrocketed him. He's just such a complex and interesting character, and the more we get of him and the more we delve into those complexities, the more I find myself really liking him. I am really excited to read the rest of the comics. As of right now, there are I think 3 left or 2 left. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 issues that will be out, but we've got a couple months for those to wrap up. I will do little reviews for those just as kind of follow-ups to this video, so if you want to see those, you can find them on my short forms. That's TikTok or Instagram at twin.sunns with 2 N's. It'll be linked down below. For right now, I think we can wrap it up here. I would love to hear your thoughts on this show. Make sure you leave them in the comments. If you like Star Wars, make sure you press the subscribe button, and like I said, if you want to follow me on the short forms, they'll be linked somewhere down there. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Cat check-in. She died.